What's going on, y'all? This is Chris with No Limit Squad, your personal Isochain and fitness vlogging channel. Today we're gonna go a little different, a little bit of a different direction and not talk too much about the Isochain. It's gonna be about the Isochain, it's not gonna be about the Isochain. It's more along the lines of goal setting, one of my favorite things, because if we wanna make moves with this Isochain and really start to experience the true benefit, the greatest that this device has to offer, we need to plan for it. Proper planning prevents poor performance, right? We have four major topics to go over today in order to really make 2021 the best year. And it can apply to Isochain, which is primarily what I'll be speaking about tonight, but it can also apply to any goals that we set for next year, whatever goals that we want to accomplish. I believe that these four things here that we're going to cover will handle it. All right, so goal setting, super important. It is the #1 way to achieve anything in life. You got to set a goal, and you got to set a date with it. A goal without a date is just a wish. There are levels to this. The first thing that I highly recommend for us is, if you don't already do this, write your goal down. Write it down. There's something about writing down your goals on a piece of paper. It solidifies it. It's no longer just a thought. Now it's out on paper. It's out in the world. Now it's time for us to follow through on that. Being on paper makes it real, tangible, something that's achievable. So what I want us to do right now, and if you gotta pause the video, that's fine. I want you to write down 3 goals that you want to achieve by using the Isochain. I want you to write down 3 goals for that. And here's why it's important, right? Again, if you don't write it, it's not really real. It's just like, oh, that's something cool that we could do, but we'll get around to it. Listen, as soon as you write it down, right? Had I not written these things down, it would have just been another video idea that I never really capitalized on, right? So you got to write it down. I planned this video out. It was a goal. I wanted to make sure that I got this out. As of this recording is New Year's Eve, and I wanted to make sure it comes out on New Year's Day, Friday. So I had to goal set a couple weeks ago in advance for this right now. You got to write it down. It helps a lot. Step 2, for each goal, write down 3 action steps that'll help you achieve that goal. Again, guys, I'm as transparent as they come. One of my goals for the Isochain is I want my calves to get bigger. All right, my calves have always been strong. I used to run track in high school. I was a sprinter, 100, 200, and 400-meter relays. So I never really had a problem with calf power, explosive power, but my calves never really showed it. It was just there. It was just strong. Maybe someone else has a similar muscle group, or maybe it's also their calves. I don't know. On the calf raise, I never really struggled with full range of motion, all the way into the negative and all the way into the positive, slow, fast, whatever, it doesn't matter. I was able to do it. I just have to train it differently, or I have to train for time under tension. So 3 things that I wrote down is isometric hypertrophy daily, so 20 to 45 seconds of calf raise, all right, with the average mode. Set it to time, so it's 20 to 45 seconds of time, and then I hit average mode first, and then I see my time number for the Isochain. That's the first step to getting my calves bigger. Obviously, I measured them already, so I'm gonna measure them January 31st, February 1st, whatever. All right, that's the first thing. The second thing I'm gonna do, every other day at the gym, I'm going to work on my calves dynamically in a hypertrophic way. What I mean by that is, instead of doing my typical 4 sets of 10, I'm going to go for 5 sets of 15, that 12 to 15 rep range, all right? Getting in deep, really slowing up the time under tension. So instead of just pushing through and doing it, now not only am I going to push through and do it, I'm going to slow it up. So it's going to be 3 seconds down and 3 seconds up, time under tension. More time under tension. And then the last thing I'm going to do is adjust my macros I already have on the sheet upstairs. All right, those are the 3 things. So I wrote it down. It's upstairs too. I wrote all my goals down, and for each goal, 3 action steps in order to make sure that they happen. Otherwise, it's just, okay, that's cool, you're gonna get your calves big. No, I want them big, and here's how. Getting that here's how is what we need. Step 3 to goal setting, and probably the most important out of all of it, is to make sure you put it somewhere visible. All right, I'm downstairs in the basement here. If I put my goals down here in the basement, like, what good is that gonna do? I'm not here all the time. I usually do my Isochain exercise up in the living room. So I need to make sure that I put it somewhere where I see it every day. So for me, that's right at the nightstand. So when I get up and, you know, the first thing I see are my goals. Boom, it smacked me right in the face. I don't have a choice but to look at it. Even when I'm thinking of other things, it's right there. Does that make sense? You want to make sure you put it somewhere visible. Write it big. If you have the opportunity to do that, make sure that it's big. It commands attention. So that way it's almost to the point where it's annoying. Like, you know, it's January 17th and it's like, all right, I get it. Keep it there. That's when you know it's working. That when you get annoyed by it, that's when you know it's working. Goal setting is taken care of. Number 2, set a time frame. Like I said earlier in the video, a goal without a date is just a wish. Set a time frame. What I recommend, have a big goal and then break it down into small manageable chunks. 30-day goals is usually what I put my clients on if they're looking to really get started on developing a good habit. I go with 30 days and breaking it down into 4 7-day chunks. All right, obviously 28 days, whatever. 7-day chunks. Okay, so now it's manageable. So now you know, out of the 7 days, each day you work on this small piece that takes 15 minutes. All of a sudden 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, boom, it's done. Does that make sense? It's something that's manageable. But if you just look at it in a macro sense, it seems overwhelming. It helps to put your goal on a time frame. Otherwise, we never really get around to it. And let me give you guys a personal example. One of the creeds I go by is leaders are readers, readers are leaders. When you read books, not only are you increasing your knowledge, but you're also allowing more opportunities to come into your life. For example, had I not started studying for my personal training cert years ago, I would have missed out on that opportunity. One of the goals that I made last year for 2020, before I realized what a year it was going to be, but that's besides the point. So I wanted to make sure I read 20 pages every single day. Did I miss days? Of course I did, but I'm definitely over 200 for sure for 2020, for sure. Even if you miss, if you shoot for the stars, you'll hit the moon. But if you shoot for the moon, you only hit rock. I may have failed my goal to read 20 pages every single day, 365 days, but you know what? Getting 200 days of 20 pages out of 365, that's a lot of books. I read over a dozen books this year. When you look at it from a macro perspective, it's like, oh wow, you know, that was a fail, but it was also a win. All right, why? Because I said it. It's right there in my bedroom. Read 20 pages a day. It's right there. As soon as I get up, it's right there on a marker board, dry erase board. It was right there. I made sure to set myself up to succeed. Listen, number 3, stay consistent, okay? I have a video game background. Consistency is the closest thing to real life cheat codes in a video game. It's the closest thing to it. It's the closest thing. It's like magic. You'll know when you start to hit momentum on it, where it's just like things are not even hard anymore. It's just autopilot. Just programming your prefrontal cortex. What is it, 21 days to develop a habit? As soon as you develop that, it's off to the races. You know, when you start to see results, everything just kind of comes together. Consistency is key. I cannot stress that enough. But what I love about consistency is it really separates the girls from the women, the boys from the men. Because we all know that success is built off of inconvenience. Success is built off of inconvenience, okay? And it's gonna get inconvenient. I'm sure you guys have already, I've been training on the Isochain daily. The only times I haven't is when I was sick, okay? And I've been sick twice now with it. So when I'm training on the Isochain, I'm training daily, and there are days where it's like I just didn't get to it during break. So now it's like 10:45. I had one of those earlier this week. It's Thursday now. I had one earlier this week, man. It's 10:45 and I have to get it done. I have to get it done. I don't want to double up tomorrow and do it. I don't want to do that. I want to get it done. All right, so when I go to sleep, I feel good about me, okay? And I want you to feel good about you. Commit, and you will thank yourself for that. A lot of the times it just seems like there's nothing happening. It's nothing happening at all. And then months later is when it starts to pick up, and it starts to pick up exponentially. Exponentially, guys. Success is not linear, it's exponential. It's a compound interest math problem that we're dealing with here. So that part here where we all start at the same point, and that flat part right before it starts to take off, this is that flat part before the graph starts to take off. That's where your character is tested. When we're working all those hours, or we're putting all that time, all those days, all those weeks, all those months, and it seems like not a damn thing is happening, that's when most people will quit, but not us. We're part of No Limit Squad. So if we started in January, it's probably not gonna be till around March when it really starts to be noticeable everywhere. Does that make sense? It's just an example. Of course, results may vary, of course, but you see my point. Everybody gets hype in the beginning, but everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. We can't become a beast without being consistent. I want us to grow. I want us to grow. No Limit Squad is a group of like-minded people who are geared towards success. That's what we do. That's why we purchased the Isochain. I could tell what type of person you are. That's why you purchased the Isochain. You saw what I saw, right? You saw what I saw in that article on Dragon Door. You saw it. I know you did. We are those pioneers for the Isochain. We're them. We are the ground zero guys. How crazy of a position are we in right now? We are literally the group that's gonna pave the way for this product. I mean, how crazy is that? Those are my 4 tips that I wanted to share with the No Limit Squad so that we can make 2021 our year. No matter what happens, no matter what the pandemic or COVID or whatever, it doesn't matter. We are in control of our own destiny. We are in control of our thoughts determine our actions determine our mindset. And from there, once our mindset is taken care of, the sky's the limit, baby. It's all up to us. It's all in here. I know we're gonna do great things. I feel like this is a bit premature, but I do wanted to say thank you guys for supporting me so far with No Limit Squad, and I can't wait to see this channel grow as more people really discover the Isochain. And then on top of that, when they get excited, when they realize what it can do for them, and then the final part of that whole equation is when they use it and it actually helps them and they now want to tell other people. Anything that helps people, I'm all about it. Goal setting, 3 action steps for the goal setting, set a time frame, and stay consistent with them. 4 topics I wanted to cover with us today so that we could just take off next year. Already started hitting the ground running today. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, if you like the content, be sure to drop a like, comment, and if you're not yet part of No Limit Squad, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come join the squad with us. We'll see you at the top. See you next video. See you next year. All right, guys. Peace.